Hey peeps, I thought I would do a little monthly wrap-up video for you guys like the kids do, talking about some of the decks that I've used the most this month and some of my thoughts on them. I just recently uploaded a witchy chat to the channel in which I discussed a big breakdown on my personal practice, and also I talked about working with tarot of vampires and the Void Tarot in that video. And so I'm not going to have the Void Tarot and Tarot of Vampires on this list because I did give them so much love in the Witchy Chat video, and many of you know those are decks of my soul, and I use them every single day, and so they get a lot of time on the channel. I will put a link to the Witchy Chat video in the description box below in case you haven't checked that out yet and you want to hang out with me and hear more about my daily practice as a witch, a priestess, and a reader, and just kind of what I've been moving through over the last few weeks, because I break all of that down there. But for today, I wanted to talk about the decks that I've been working with this month. A few of them kind of surprised me, and I forgot how much I enjoy them. And so I wanted to talk about those. And I think I want to start with the three that surprised me. I'd forgotten how much I love these three decks. So the first one on the list is the Pulp Tarot. I really love this deck. I actually like all of Todd Alcott's decks. I know, by the way, there's a science fiction one that just came out. Don't worry, it's on my list to buy. I have it in the budget for next month, so don't worry, that's going to be coming. But I ended up using the Pulp Tarot for all of my Patreon mini reads. For my Patreon peeps at that donation level, which also, by the way, thank you to Patreon peeps, because today's Victorian ghost makeup look was their bonus video of the month. I do a bonus get ready with me every month for my Patreon peeps, so we had fun doing this makeup look together this morning. But for all the mini reads, I ended up using the Pulp Tarot with the Unicorns Oracle, and I forgot how amazing this deck is. It's such a clear reader. And I think I may have even discussed this in my Witchy Chat video too, just how the deck is able to be so concise, so clear, and it's so enjoyable to work with. And the imagery is just delicious. It's just delicious, delicious, delicious. And while it's definitely a Rider-Waite-Smith knockoff insofar as it's Rider-Waite-Smith true, let me say it that way, it's very easy to work with the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith system and work with this deck. So you could be a total newbie to tarot and connect in with this deck and not have a problem working with an intro to tarot book. So it's wonderful if you're new to tarot as well, because it's very easy to read. But I forgot how awesome this deck is to read with, and just how enjoyable it is from a professional reading space, because it is very clear, it's very concise, it's also very beautiful. The color tonality can be quite arresting or quite soothing. And so it really activates the intuition. So the Pulp Tarot is one that I hadn't pulled out for a little while, hadn't worked with, and rediscovered how much I love this deck. And I'm excited to step into spring working with this one more often for sure. Now, next on the list of decks that I forgot how amazing they are is Anatorian's Tarot of the Abyss. I'm working through a mentorship package now with a beloved sister in the cards, and we are working with this deck, and I forgot how insightful the imagery is in this deck. Now, it's been on my top 5 of all time, so I obviously have deep love for this deck, but for some reason it just hadn't been a go-to over, I would say, almost the last year for me. And I am amazed by how much I'm able to pull out of the imagery in this deck. How many little layers of symbolism there are to find within the ink drawings. And just how much you feel from this deck. It's almost as if the black and gray tonality lets you access the light aspect of the card meaning, insofar as you start to see where the divine essence lies within the structure of the spread when you work with this deck, because it's just epic. I just forgot how amazing this deck is, and it's one of those moments where I feel so grateful. You know, over the last few years, I've had so many powerful experiences with students, and they always get me to work with decks that I might have taken a break from. And then I'm like, oh my God, this deck is amazing. And this is just one that I'm super, super grateful to have reconnected with. Now, the other deck on this list might surprise you, this part of the list, excuse me, which is like rediscovering how much I love a deck. and that is Colette Baron Reid's Wisdom of the Oracle. And this is the pocket edition, so it's the mini one. I ended up working with this in a series of client readings about, like I would say in the 2nd and 3rd weeks of February, as a clarifier to a few different tarot decks. And I forgot what a great clarifier this deck is. Listen, this deck is not Tarot of the Abyss. It's also not the Pulp Tarot, but it is a great clarifier. It just works so well with tarot to pinpoint and hone in on specific areas that I might not have picked up. I do use reversals in this deck, guys. I apologize. That one was upside down. That I might have missed if I hadn't pulled for clarification with this deck. It's not the deepest deck on earth. It's not going to take you to places. Like, this isn't a deck that I like to journey with. It's not a deck that is something I use for deep practice, but it is a very practical deck, and it is a great clarifier. And I forgot what a great clarifier it is. I actually forgot that it's that great of a clarifier. And I was like, you know what? This is the pocket edition. It's easy to have on my little working deck station, because I have a little area over here where I have all the decks that are in current use. My girlies that are, you know, out there doing the grind with me. And so I'm like, I am going to put this right here and remember to actually access this one, because I typically go for the Mystical Shaman Oracle, but this is less nuanced, and I think it's more just straight up to the point what it is. So those were 3 that I was like, I forgot how amazing they were. The next deck on the list is one that I've remembered how amazing it is. It's the Woodland Wardens. And I wanted to give it some love for February because I've actually been drawing a spirit animal card from this deck every day. I do my morning practice in front of my altar with my 3, well, I have 3 decks there, but I use 2 in the morning and 1 at night. And so I have that practice there. I usually do that with my first cup of tea, and then I'll kind of move to the couch and do some journaling with my second cup of tea, and I'll pull a spirit animal card from the Woodland Wardens Oracle. And I just love this deck so much. I just do. I don't, you know, I'm an old school elder goth at this point. It's not my typical aesthetic, but I love this deck, and something about being in the woods and just like the colors here in this particular woodland area, this deck really harmonizes with this place, with the land where I live right now. And so there's an extra kind of sweetness to working with it. And I like to savor, like, look at that imagery. It's so peaceful. I just like to savor this pull with a second cup of tea and a little journaling session, and just kind of connecting in with that spirit animal energy, a message that, you know, the earth ones have for me, the old ones. And then I get to move through my day, kind of pay attention if that animal is native to my area, where I might see them as I'm moving throughout my day and what message that might have for me. And I can take a moment and just kind of tap into this energy if I feel a little bit lonely. And then I feel less solitary at times, you know. Even someone like me who likes to be alone all the time, sometimes we get lonely, right? And Woodland Wardens, excuse me, is just like a companion and a friend on the path. It's like Coastal Curiosities. I like to take those 2 decks out, and I like to shuffle them a lot because they're just such lovely companions. They really feel like friends. It's less about divination and it's more about connection with this particular deck. So I wanted to make sure and highlight that one this month, because sometimes it gets lost in the shuffle of the decks that are more like impactful and bang on powerful. This is more of a friend, and it's a little bit quieter in its essence, but it's no less powerful. Sorry guys, I'm still getting over this ridiculous cold thing, and I need a little sip of tea there. So next on the list is the Cave of Sybil Oracle by Tierra May. I am talking about this a lot on the channel this month, but it's because this deck has been so transformative for me. This is not a deck for a daily draw. It is a nighttime deck, and it works a lot with the dark feminine and the void. So you're going into shadow work themes. The artwork really forces you to confront aspects of yourself. I've had some deeply powerful realizations and releasing ritual with this oracle deck this month, and I've been working with it in the evening, and I've had I've given myself the gift and had the joy of sitting with the card imagery over a series of nights for each pull. Typically, I'm giving it more than one night with that pull, and coming back and having multiple journaling sessions with the imagery. And it is just like it's like Dante's Inferno in a way. And it's like you think you've reached the bottom of it and another trapdoor opens up and you fall into another lower level, and then there's another level and another level. And you just are accessing all of this insight and inner wisdom. And the dark feminine speaks quite profoundly through this deck. So I really can't recommend this deck enough if you are looking for that kind of an experience. This deck is not the wisdom of the oracle, and it's not going to be. So if that's not what you're looking for, then this isn't a deck for you. But for me this month and last month, this deck has been really personally impactful and deeply healing. So it is important for me to put it on the list because it's such a great deck. So that is Tierra May's Cave of Sybil Oracle. Okay, so for my last two decks, these two have really come forward pretty strongly here at the end of February. So they're end of February favorites. And this first one I'm going to talk about, I just did an unboxing of on the channel. I will try and put that in the description box below as well, if I remember. This is the Lacrimosa Tarot, curated and crafted by Rose Bay Tarot. It's an indie deck, and it's absolutely stunning. I've only had it for a few days, but I've been nonstop shuffling and working with the imagery and just loving every aspect of it. If you are someone who does enjoy a dark aesthetic like I do, I think you're going to love this deck. It has such a powerful personality and such a feel to it. And I think Rose Bay really knocked it out of the park with this one. I also think you can absolutely use it based on Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. Please forgive me, guys. This cold has me. Rider-Waite-Smith meanings. You can absolutely work with this one and not have a problem. So if you're new to tarot, I think this is still an accessible deck. You know, you'll excuse me. Apologize for that, guys. I've been trying to do that off camera. Where was I? Hold on a second. We're coming back. We're coming back. We're coming back. I promise. I promise. You can have a Tarot 101 or an Intro to Tarot book and work with this and not have a problem. So if you're new to tarot, this isn't one that would be too heavy to work with. And I think particularly if you feel very drawn to the artwork, which I do, if you're someone who loves like black and red and ochre and sepia and like layered, lush color tones, then you're going to enjoy this. There's an opulence and a reverence to this, but it still has a dash of punk within it. And I've been having so much freaking fun with this deck. So this is going to be a deck that's heavy in rotation for me in the future. I just know it, much like Rose Bay's Sistine Tarot. It's going to be an absolute essential in my tarot collection and in my work and in my practice, personally and as a professional reader. Okay. Oh, I forgot I had one other one. I knew I had another one I wanted to share. The other deck that's kind of surprised me this month is the Sacred Glyph Oracle. I know. I wasn't expecting to like this deck, but it's quite powerful, especially in client readings. This deck has just been so spot on. It's been so helpful. It's been so loving. It's been so supportive, and it gives such clear symbol connection for clients who need affirmation in a reading, or who need to know, like, what can I be looking for? What can I be connecting with? What can give me a sense of I'm moving in the right direction on my path? Now, another unexpected thing I found about this deck is that the numbers work great for me giving clients like a numerology perspective too. Like if I draw the scales and the balance card here and it's number 29, I can say to my client, keep an eye out for the number 29 because that's going to be a sign for you. It's going to be another affirmation. And it's been really spot on, especially in my own draws with this as well. Like the number does show up throughout the day in a way that I'm like connecting to it. So it's been really fun to work with this one from a less structured magical perspective, but also just, I think it's a very loving deck, especially for yourself, and or if you're a professional reader like me, for clients as well who are just moving through times of grief, darkness, loss, uncertainty, which so many of us are experiencing right now, this deck is really lovely. And I'm not remembering the whole name of this deck completely, so I will put the link to purchase this one in the description box down below. It is an indie deck. I think it's Sacred Glyph Oracle or Glyph Oracle, but I don't want to send you to the wrong deck. This is a lovely deck, and I'm actually surprised by how much use I'm getting out of it. Way more than I thought, and I like it way more than I thought I would. I love the color theme in that too. Final deck. Oh wait, no, I have another one too. She might have a deck problem. Okay, the other deck that I've been using a lot this month is, I believe it's Jennifer Heathway's. Again, I will put the link to this one. This is her Lilith's Oracle. This is an indie deck as well. It's got really lovely artwork in it. I do wish the borders were a little less excessive, but it's very true to Lilith's essence. And I've been working with this with Lilith. So I'll do a draw when I need a message from her, or I need to understand where she's coming from, or what she wants me to work with her around, or what she wants me to embrace in my story. So this is a really lovely deck. The guidebook is great too. So if you're totally new to working with Lilith, I think this is a wonderful deck to build a relationship with her. And it feels like an indie deck. It's very consciously created. It doesn't feel like it was made by rote or just to make money. You can really tell that the witch that made this deck walks with Lilith. And so I will put the link to purchase this one in the description box below as well, because this is a really great one. And I've worked with it enough now that I can say confidently, for me, it is Lilith true. And I've been working with that one for Lilith this month. Okay, now the final deck for real. Now the real. The Redand Tarot. And this is thanks to another wonderful student and sister in the cards with me. We are starting a mentorship journey soon, and in preparation, this was the deck chosen, and I've been working with it to get comfortable with it, to step into sacred space. And this deck is awesome. Oh, it's so good. It's also, it's based on the Thoth system. So if you're looking to connect with that, but you want different imagery than the Thoth Tarot, this is a wonderful option. It's another one where, much like Tarot of the Abyss, the very limited color palette really makes certain aspects of the card pop, which really helps you access intuition. So if you are looking to build your intuition, a deck like Tarot of the Abyss, the Redand Tarot, or the Mary L Tarot can be really helpful for that. And I am going to do a video on that. I've had several requests. How can we build our intuition when it comes to card work? So don't worry, I'm going to be working on that in the month of March. But I forgot how awesome this deck is. Now, I haven't worked with this one as much as the others, so I didn't put it with that grouping because this is a newer deck to me. I backed it when it came out, I believe, or I purchased it, or like I backed it through the creation process, or I purchased it immediately when it came out because I love Pixel Occult's decks. I have all of their decks and they're all awesome. Thanks to a dearly beloved sister in the cards who got me hooked on them. But this deck is so, can I just say, not only is it a great deck, it's Thoth system, so it kind of pushes your muscle when it comes to reading tarot in this really great way. You know, it's like a really great strength training workout when you're done and you're like, oh yeah, that feels good. It's like that. But it feels like, for me, who is pretty much draped in red and black on any given day, this is like my home color theme, and so it's just delicious to me to look at. It's delicious to me to look at, and I love the red edging, and I like the way it feels in my hands. I like the cardstock. I love the experience of shuffling it. Like, I just want to walk around and shuffle it in my hands all day. This deck has been really, really fun to work with over the last week in preparation for my next journey work with it. So I'm really loving this one. If you've been sleeping on this one, I do think it's worth the investment. It's another indie deck again as well. I will try to remember to put the link to this in the description box down below too. But those have been the decks that have been like front runners in the month of February. So if you guys like me doing a monthly favorites for the decks that I'm working with, please let me know in the comment box down below. comment section down below, excuse me. Because if you guys like this, I'll keep doing monthly wrap-ups. I enjoy watching other people's monthly wrap-ups as well. And so I thought it would be fun to share what I've been working with and using a lot as well. So I hope you guys have had a good February. Hope you're excited for the month to come. I am sending you guys, as always, oceans of love, and I will, of course, see you in the next video. Take care.